Hello, welcome to the Echoes Across the Valley. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Since independence in 1962, Uganda has sailed through a stormy sea of leadership, steered by 9 captains, each with his own compass and destination. The nation's political journey has been a tale of crowns gained and crowns lost, where reality often touched with betrayal and the ballot was overshadowed by the bullet. From royal thrones shaken by ambition to barracks echoing with the boots of soldiers, Uganda's state house has been more of a revolving door than a permanent residence. Civil strife, military coups, exiles, and returnees have written chapters of both tragedy and resilience, leaving behind legacies that provoke both admiration and unease. From Sir Edward Mutesa II to General Yoweri Museveni, this is the story of the 9 captains who have steered the stormy sea of Uganda's leadership, where power has often been a gamble, while history itself stands as the silent witness. This is the story of the 9 presidents who have ever governed Uganda. Number 1, Sir Edward Mutesa II. He was the first president of Uganda and came to power in 1962, ruling up to 1966. His rule lasted exactly 3 years and 6 months. He rose to power through a political alliance between his Kingdom of Buganda and Milton Obote's Uganda People's Congress. Mutesa's presidency was largely symbolic, since Milton Obote held the real executive powers as Prime Minister. His reign was marked by deep suspicion between traditional kingdoms, which were questioning the position of Buganda and the central government. Ultimately, the 1966 crisis brought his government to an end. The Prime Minister, Milton Obote, ordered an attack on his palace at Mengo in May 1966, forcing him to flee to London, where he later died in poverty and isolation. Number 2, Apollo Milton Obote. After overthrowing Mutesa II, abrogating the 1962 Independence Constitution and suspending traditional kingdoms, Obote declared himself the executive president. His reign began in 1966 and lasted up to 1971, which is approximately 4 years and 9 months. His rule was marred by political assassinations, suppression of royal institutions, especially targeting the Baganda who had hated him for exiling the Kabaka, and entrenchment of military involvement in politics. Obote's first regime dramatically ended in 1971 when he was ousted by his own army chief Idi Amin while attending a Commonwealth meeting in Singapore. Number 3, General Idi Amin Dada. The third president of Uganda was Idi Amin, and it tends to be the most popular president of Uganda because of his dramatic and humorous character. His reign lasted for 8 years and 2 months, ruling from 1971 to 1979. He gave himself flamboyant titles such as General, Field Marshal, Conqueror of the British Empire, King of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, among others. After seizing power in a classic military coup, Amin ruled with an iron fist and unpredictable charm. His reign was one of the most dramatic in Africa's pre-colonial history, characterized by mass killings, terror, and expulsion of Asians in 1972, which left Uganda's economy in ruins. Amini's rule remains a topic of debate among Ugandans. Whereas some denounce his murderous and tyrannical nature, others applaud him for the patriotic spirit which remains unmatched debate. Amini's rule would come to an end in 1979 when Tanzanian forces along Ugandan exiles invaded and captured Kampala, forcing him into exile in Saudi Arabia. Number 4. Yusuf Lule. Following the defeat and deposition of Idi Amin in 1979, the Ugandan exiles, politicians, and liberation fighters formed a political coalition in 1979 known as the Uganda National Liberation Front. In June 1979, the Uganda National Liberation Front appointed an academician, Professor Yusuf Lule, as president. However, his presidency was short-lived, barely 68 days, making him one of the briefest heads of state in African history. His rule was marked by internal quarrels and disagreements in the Uganda National Liberation Front leadership, particularly over appointments and allocation of power. Lule made no lasting achievements and is rarely talked about in Ugandan history. His reign ended in June 1979 when the Uganda National Liberation Front Executive Council voted him out as quickly as they had appointed him. Number 5. Godfrey Naisa. After sacking Yusuf Lule, the Uganda National Liberation Front Executive Council appointed Godfrey Naisa, a former Attorney General in Obote's government, to be the next president. Despite being a Muganda by tribe, Godfrey Naisa was not popular among the Baganda as one may have expected. This was because he was one of the key architects of the 1967 Constitution, which abolished traditional kingdoms. His rule lasted approximately 11 months, beginning in June 1979 up to May 1980. Big challenges boomed for his government, marked by intrigue and factionalism. Naisa tried to assert his authority as president in a government dominated by the military. However, his most undoing was the dismissal of the powerful Army Chief of Staff, Brigadier Oite Ojov, in an attempt to weaken military dominance in the government. This decision angered the Uganda National Liberation Army officers who removed him from power in May 1980. Number 6. Paul Muwanga. After the overthrow of Godfrey Naisa, a temporary military commission was established to act as a provisional government as elections were being organized. It was led by Paulo Muwanga, who in reality functioned as the country's most powerful man, even though he styled himself as chairman of the military commission rather than president. He reigned from May to December 1980, approximately 7 months. Number 7. Obote II. Milton Obote returned to power through the disputed 1980 elections organized by the military commission chaired by Paulo Muwanga. Many political opponents such as Yoweri Museveni's UPM rejected to accept results, which they believed Obote rigged with Muwanga's help, and this is believed to be the trigger factor for the famous Ugandan Bush War led by Yoweri Museveni. Obote's second regime was even darker than his first, remembered for the Bush War waged by Yoweri Museveni's National Resistance Army and the infamous Luwero Triangle massacres, where thousands of civilians were killed. This reign was soaked in blood and whatever plans Obote had for economic or social development were overshadowed by the brutality of counter-insurgency operations. His presidency ended in May 1985 when his own generals, led by Tito Okello, overthrew him. He fled to Zambia, where he spent the rest of his days. Number 8. Tito Okello Lutwa. After deposing his boss, General Tito Okello became Uganda's 8th president in July 1985. His government was weak and unstable, surviving only through shaky ceasefires with Museveni's advancing rebels. No remarkable achievements are recorded during his reign, as it was consumed by the civil war and negotiations that constantly failed. His presidency ended in January 1986 when Museveni's National Resistance Army captured Kampala, forcing Okello to flee into exile. Number 9. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Lastly on the list is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He is the 9th and current president of Uganda since 1986, nearly 40 years in power. Yoweri Museveni seized power through the victory of guerrilla fighters, the National Resistance Army movement, marking the beginning of Uganda's longest presidency. His early years in power saw the restoration of peace and stability after years of coups and bloodshed. He introduced politics that rebuilt the economy, gained international recognition, and promoted a fundamental change away from military dictatorship. However, over the decades, his reign became marked by longevity, with Uganda experiencing one-man rule. His lasting mark remains his ability to outlive all rivals, making his presidency one of Africa's longest running in leadership, and does not seem to be going anywhere soon. What is your take on Ugandan history? Let me know in the comment sections below. Wait build your class if you follow and like this channel. If no, please follow, share and like this video.